I'm Olivia Peltier. I'm a registrar here at the LSU Museum of Art. I'm the curator of this exhibit, Eugene Martin, The Creative Act. This evening, we're kind of celebrating the opening of the exhibit, and we're going to be taking a tour of the exhibit. I'll be talking some more about the artist's process, about some of the individual works, and this kind of open, collaborative studio space that we have in the exhibit. So these works came to the museum in 2008. The widow of the artist, Eugene Martin, her name is Suzanne Frederic. She has so many of his works in their home, and she very generously, kind of around that time, went around and offered works from Eugene to different museums around Louisiana. So there's some at the Mazur Museum of Art in Monroe, there's one at the Ogden Museum of Art in New Orleans. We actually have, I think, the biggest collection. We have 31 works by Eugene. It's pretty robust, and it very much tells the story of his work. It kind of spans his career and tells us each phase of his life. Eugene Martin, he has this unique way of working that I kind of discovered through reading more about him and looking at the works. So I learned in researching him that he did train kind of academically. So he has a very traditional artistic background and originally worked doing portraits, naturalism, a lot of the same things that everyone practices when they go to art school. But then eventually he turned to abstraction as a challenge, because to him it meant couldn't look at the outside world. He had to go from within. So this show, it kind of is based on that idea. We titled it The Creative Act, based on a quote that I read from Eugene, where he talks about, whether an artwork sells or whether it's even in a gallery doesn't really matter to him. What he's doing is just satisfying the need to create and kind of imprinting that the creative act of making art is the important part. And you can see that if you see the images of their home, his studio, there's work everywhere. I mean, he just made so much work over his lifetime. And so you really see that. And in the way that he makes lines and forms, you can kind of sense that he's really working sort of autonomously and is working from something within and isn't necessarily trying to say something about what's happening in the world or force a narrative upon the viewer, but rather create this open door into another world for you to kind of see what you want to see.